Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream. We've got the race today in Italy, so it's going to be a fun one. We are less than an hour away from race time, a little like 27-ish minutes till race time. It's going to be a great race. It's going to be fun to watch, so stick around for the race in less than an hour's time. We are going to do predictions later for the race, before we get everything underway, and just before we get the race underway. The cars, they will be out on track in around 20-ish minutes, so that's something to look at. That's something we've got. The cars will be out on track in a little bit. So, not 20, like 15 minutes till the cars get out on track. We are 56 minutes till the formation lap, and then we've got the race after. It's going to be a fun race. Going to be a fun race. Going to be a fun one to watch. Going to be a fun one to watch, guys. Yeah. Before we go to Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix next weekend, the Monaco Grand Prix next weekend. That one's a huge one, too. Qualifying was interesting. Of course, Oscar Piastri getting that time penalty, starting 5th on the grid, so, not time penalty, penalty, three-place grid penalty for, something having to do with, something having to do with, Kevin Magnussen. So yeah, I do have the, countdown to the race right there, on the side. And then I'll switch back. 53 minutes till race, 52 till race time. Going to be a fun race. We'll take a look at the starting grid in a bit. And then we'll talk about each driver's weekend. We'll go over the teams and talk about each driver's weekend in a bit. But yeah, can Lando Norris win the race? I know that Max Verstappen has been busy this weekend, taking place in the 24-hour iRace, on the 24-hour race on iRace. Yes, iRace is the biggest simulator video game, driving simulator game. With every track in the world, every car in the world, best game that that you have to pay like a monthly membership for that game. Max Verstappen took place in the 24 hours of. He raced in the 24 hours of Nuremberg, the virtual race, for Team Redline, like he normally does. So I don't know if Verstappen's got the game, got it today because he was up till like 12 a.m. on the virtual race last night. So I don't know if he's got, the race that everyone's expecting of him, the Red Bull team's expecting of him. I think he's going to be really tired in the car, and that's going to have a big impact on, the race. So it's Lando Norris's race to win because it's really, he's got an advantage starting second on the grid. You've got Verstappen, who's tired and already raced on the sim for a couple hours during the virtual 24-hour race he did last night. So he's like, I don't know if he's gonna have the race that people are looking from him. So, so here's some notes going into the race. Oscar Piastri has been penalized, has been given a 3. Here's some of the notes from the FIA about the starting grid. So Oscar Piastri a 3-place grid penalty for impeding on another driver during qualifying, which was Kevin Magnussen. Logan Sargent failed to set a time within the Q1 requirements. So he got his time taken away and starting in dead last. Fernando Alonso required to start under the pit lane after the cars were modified in the time they weren't supposed to be modified. So he's required to start from the pit lane. Because that's technically making an upgrade to the car. So Alonso's starting in the pit lane. So going into this race, we'll talk about the starting grid in just a little bit. Let's take a look at the driver's standings the race results. We started off the season in Bahrain, where Verstappen got his first win of the season, followed by Sergio Perez getting P2 and Carlos Sainz getting P3 in Bahrain in round 1, where Red Bull takes home a 1-2 in Bahrain. We go to round 2 in Saudi Arabia, where Red Bull gets yet another 1-2, Verstappen winning his second race of the season, Perez getting his second, getting for the second race in a row, a second place finish, with Charles Leclerc finishing third that weekend. Ferrari's third place finish. We go to Australia, where Carlos Sainz got his first race of the season, his second podium of the season. Charles Leclerc finished P2 in that race, his second podium of the season, his highest finish of the season at that point. Lando Norris got third place, that was his first podium of the season. In Japan, where Verstappen got his third race win of the season, and Red Bull got their third P2, third best finish, I guess. Third top 2 finish for both drivers, as Perez finishes second for the third time this season. Carlos Sainz finishes third for his third podium, his second third place finish of the season. Then we went to China, where Max Verstappen got his fourth race win of the season. Lando Norris finished second, his second podium of the season, and Sergio Perez finished third his 4th podium of the season. And in Miami, Lando Norris won the race, a Formula 1 race for the first time in his career, and he won a Formula 1 race, finishing first. As Max Verstappen, that was his 3rd podium of the season, his first place, his first race win of the season. Max Verstappen finished P2. His 5th podium of the season, his first P2 of the season. And Charles Leclerc finished 3rd. His 3rd podium of the season, his 2nd third place finish. And that brings us to today, Emilia, Romagna, where we are just 46 minutes away from race time, from when we get the race underway. Taking a look at the drivers' standings, we have starting in 21st place, Logan Sargent in 21st place on 0 points. Logan Sargent this season, no podiums, no fastest laps, 0 points. He is 20th on there in the Williams. In 20th, you've got Valtteri Bottas, who hasn't gotten a single point this season in the Sauber. In 19th is Pierre Gasly in the Alpine on 0 points. In 18th, in the Sauber is Zhou Guanyu on 0 points. In 17th is Alex Albon on 0 points in the Williams. And 16th is Kevin Magnussen in the Haas on 1 point. In 15th is Esteban Ocon in the Alpine on 1 point. In 14th is the Racing Bull of Daniel Ricciardo on 5 points. In 13th is Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas on 6 points. In 12th is Oliver Behrman in the Ferrari on 6 points. In 11th in the standings is Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin on 9 points. In 10th place is Yuki Tsunoda in the Racing Bull on 14 points. 9th place goes to Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes on 27 points. Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin on 33 points in 8th. George Russell in the Mercedes on 37 points in P6, followed by Oscar Piastri in the McLaren on 41 points in P6. P5 goes to Carlos Sainz on 83 points in the Ferrari, as Lando Norris in 4th on 83 points in the McLaren. Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari on 98 points in 3rd. In 2nd is Sergio Perez on 103 points in the Red Bull, and leading the World Drivers' Championship is Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, leading with 136 points, which includes 5 podiums, 2 fastest laps, and 6 races that Verstappen has raced in. Let's take a look at the World Constructors' Championship. In last place is Sauber on 0. In 10th place is Sauber on 0 points. In 9th place is Williams on 0 points, followed by Alpine in 8th on 1 point. In P7 is the Haas with 7 points, and in 6th is Racing Bull on 19 points. 5th is Aston Martin on 42 points, with 4th place going to Mercedes on 64 points. In 3rd is McLaren with 124 points, and in 2nd is Ferrari on 187 points, and leading the World Constructors' Championship with 239 points is Red Bull Racing, who leads the World Constructors' Championships. The cars are going to get out on track in a couple of minutes' time, but we are just 42 minutes away from the race beginning. Who will take home the win? We've only seen 3 teams finish on the podium: Ferrari, Red Bull, and McLaren, the only three teams to have been featured on the podium, and will we get a new team on the podium? Will Mercedes try and fight for a podium spot this weekend? Well, we don't know who's going to fight for a podium spot this weekend. The race, 41 minutes away. We go to Monaco next weekend, where the defending champion, the defending Monaco Grand Prix winner, Sergio Perez, will be defending. Max Verstappen will be defending his Monaco race win from last year, if he will try and go, you know. So it's going to be a very interesting race. Hi. Hello. So it's going to be an interesting race to watch this weekend. It's really an interesting race. Max Verstappen, of course, starting on the front row of the grid today. Hello to everyone who's watching around the world. You know, looking at the Max Verstappen trying to get another win, obviously, but it's really been a season for Verstappen. I think that Verstappen is a great driver. Not my favorite, but Lando Norris has a real chance this weekend, I feel like. Lando Norris won the race last time out in Miami, so I think Lando's got a great chance to win, guys. This is a race where Lando's got a big chance to win. He's got a huge chance to win after Max Verstappen. He did compete in a 24-hour race. He competed in the 24 hours of Nuremberg, a virtual online race, a virtual race, not a real life race, a virtual race. So he's probably really tired. He's probably going to be really tired for this race today. Max Verstappen's third most wins in Formula 1. 58 wins for Max Verstappen. Yeah, that's what we hope. That's what we hope. But I don't know if that'll happen. Everyone's either going... The race strategy for the past couple weekends has been either the mediums to the hards, or the hards to the mediums. The hards to the mediums seem like the best race strategy, because the hards to the mediums, the hards you could pit from laps 23 to 40, and then, no, from 30 to 40, and then you could go to rest on mediums. Or you could go pit on between lap 40, and go one stop. I think that's what everyone's going to go. I think that's what I would go for. The hards to the medium, the hards to the softs, to go to just to get that. I think that's what strategy I would be choosing this weekend. Who do you guys think is gonna win the race? I think Lando Norris will win the race today. I'm also hoping the Ferraris will win this weekend. It's Italy. We're in Italy, so really hoping Ferrari will win because it's a home race for Ferrari. All the Ferrari fans are out in Italy, so really hope that they can get the win. Max Verstappen looking for his 59th win in Formula One. Can he do it? Can he get the win this weekend? He's inching closer to second most wins in Formula One on 91. It looks Lewis Hamilton has the most wins ever in Formula One. He has 103 wins. Michael Schumacher has the second most Formula One wins with 91 wins. And Max Verstappen has the third most wins in Formula One on 58 wins. So to have it to Max Verstappen's really close to catching up to the second most wins in Formula One. Yeah. Really getting. Who do you guys think is gonna win this weekend? Put your thoughts on the comments in the comments down below. Who you guys in the chat who you guys think is gonna win? Look, it could be anyone's race this weekend. I think Max Verstappen, you might say he's got a good chance, as we're 34 minutes away. You might say he's got a good chance, but I feel like it could go either way. I'm hoping Lando will win. Oscar Piastri, of course, he was supposed to start in P3. Now he's starting in, no, he was supposed to start P2. Now he's starting P5 because of a grid penalty for I think it was something to do with Kevin Magnussen. I don't know exactly, but something to do with Kevin Magnussen. Where he made Kevin Magnussen go off track. So it's really looking like Lando Norris, who's only won one race, which moves him up to 79th all-time, looking to make it to 68th all-time in most F1 wins as he starts to climb up. As the cars are getting on in their grid spots, they're getting on the grid as we are just 30 minutes away till race time. 30 minutes. Ferrari, who does have the most wins in Formula. Yeah, Lando Norris is looking for 2 in a row. Excited to see that. Lando 2 in a row. If he does get that, because Verstappen's probably really tired after being up at 12 a.m. in the morning with the... He's not... I don't think his team won the 24-hour race, virtual race. Ferrari has the most wins in Formula 1, 244 wins. They're looking for win 245 today. And, you know, just 6 more away from most wins and 6 more away from most 6 more wins away from their 250th win in Formula One. McLaren, 180 in second. They have 184 wins all time. 184 wins all time, McLaren. All time. With their first win being in 1968. So it could be anyone's race. Could be anyone. We're gonna do voting for who do you guys think will win the race. Who's gonna win the race, guys? Who do you guys think is gonna win the race? The race this weekend. Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, or Ferrari, Charles Leclerc. You know, because that's what. Oh, Charles Leclerc. Because it's Italy. It's Emilia, Romagna. In Italy. So it's Imola race weekend. So 28 minutes till race time in Italy. So cars getting out on track, on the grid, getting their slotted in the grid, getting ready for the weekend, getting ready for Yuki Tsunoda starting 7th. Man, Yuki Tsunoda is having an amazing season. This is the best season he's ever had in Formula One, Yuki Tsunoda. He's really blowing the expectations I had coming into the season for Tsunoda. Best season I've ever, best season I've ever saw from him. And I cannot ask for more from Racing Bulls, who I wasn't really, even though I'm a Yuki Tsunoda fan, I wasn't really kind of expecting this team to do so well. Yuki Tsunoda, Racing Bulls' highest finish this season was 7th. Maybe they could get a result better than 7th. Yuki Tsunoda has never been on the podium in Formula One, but the highest he's ever finished in was back in Abu Dhabi 2021. He finished, um, he finished fourth in that race. And of course that was a massive race. Since Yuki Tsunoda's debut, he's had 0 podiums, 1 fastest lap in 72 races. This is his 73rd Formula 1 race. Getting up there with everyone else. He's had 6 races this season. And he did out-qualify Daniel Ricciardo for this weekend. And that's something that Yuki Tsunoda has been doing time and time again. He's been out-qualifying his teammate, which, to be honest, should not be happening with the experience that Daniel Ricciardo's wasn't really expecting that to happen. But Yuki Tsunoda will start P7, his teammate starting in P9. In between Tsunoda and Ricciardo, is Lewis Hamilton in P8. Tsunoda is starting right alongside George Russell, so that's going to be tough for Tsunoda in the early stages of the race. The Ferrari starting P3 and P4. P3 and P4 for Ferrari this weekend, with Leclerc in third. Ferrari taking the second row of the grid, with Verstappen and Norris lining up on the front row of the grid. Really, there's a lot of storylines to follow this weekend. A lot going on this weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think anyone could win it at this point. Anyone. Because that's what it's looking like, at least I've been seeing. So Logan Sargent starting last, and Alonso starting 19th. Alonso starting from the pit lane, so technically starting last. So technically, Alonso starting last and Logan Sargent starting 19th, because Logan Sargent didn't set a time in Q1. No, he set a time in Q1, but it was too slow. It was too slow to the race stewards' liking. It was too slow for them. Eddie Irvine here as well, at the race track. Eddie Irvine, he finished P2 in the Constructors' Championship some point in the 90s, I don't remember. Also a great racing driver. So everyone's saying Leclerc. Hopefully Lando could get the win. There's a lot of people that I want to get the win today. Tsunoda would be massive. Big overstatement though. As we get closer to race time. It will be 76 degrees when the race begins. No rain for the race, no rain. So, we were possibly going to see some rain for the race, but not anymore. So it is 77 for the race start. "4 mile per hour winds." So I don't know. I don't think that will greatly impact the race. Windy, not that windy. Um, so it'll be very interesting to see how the race goes as we get. It's early. So early. So early. Hit the subscribe button down below. It will really appreciate that, guys. Let's hope Lando will get second in a row. We do have the French Open coming up in a couple weeks, and I will be live streaming the French Open finals for both the on the men's side and the women's side. I don't know if that's the same weekend as the race in Canada. Maybe. Possibly. I don't know. Possibly. So I will be streaming the finals. I don't know what else I'll be streaming. And the and speaking of tennis, Marina Sabalenka on the grade, walking down the grade for the race today. She's here. Hopefully she'll have a great French Open. The French Open's getting close. It's qualifying week for the French Open. The French Open begins on the next weekend, and Arina Sabalenka showing her support for Formula One, showing up to the race this weekend. That is random. That is random. Then we've also got the Euros coming up in a couple weeks. That's a big soccer competition in Germany this year. Still 18 minutes. The Ferrari, John Elkin. I don't know who he is. I should know who he is, but I don't know who he is. Ferrari chairman or CEO or something. I don't know. He is very tall though. 17 minutes to race time. So yeah, we do have the so we are streaming the Roland Garros, or the French Open, as most people like to call it. As we get closer to race time, guys. we do have some interesting people in the qualifying for the French Open this week. So it's qualifying week, and then next week is when it begins on the 26th, the French Open. But we're here to talk about Formula One, and it's going to be a great race. No matter what happens, this race has been set up for an amazing race. The Ferrari fans out and ready for an interesting race. As we are less than 20 minutes away. The race engineer for Lando Norris, Will Joseph, interesting. Fernando Alonso breaks the record every time he steps in a Formula One car. He holds the record for most race starts in Formula One, and every time he steps in the car, a new record. Like, I'm not joking. Every time he steps in the car, it's a new record for him. Most starts in Formula One is Lando Norris. No, not Lando Norris. Fernando Alonso making his 384th race start. Lando Norris making his 384th race start. Lewis Hamilton making his 339th race start. He's third all time. Could pass Michael Schumacher if things keep on going. So that's a big record there. So every time he steps in the car, he's got a new record. And on the trophy that the driver will win today has the little 30, the number 30 with Ayrton Senna's little helmet on it, because 30 years ago during the San Marino Grand Prix in this exact same track, because it used to be called the San Marino Grand Prix, on this exact same track, he died, and to commemorate remember him and the career he's had, the 30 years ago, this year, a couple weeks ago, 30 years ago, a couple weeks ago, I forgot what day it was, but it was a couple weeks ago. You know, just that tragic accident. Two drivers died on that weekend. The most tragic weekend in Formula One happened on this exact same track. We are still racing in to this day. So we remember Ayrton Senna is interesting. the first of two races in Italy. The first of two races in the season in Italy. We'll go to Monza later this year, but we start off in the region of Emilia, Romagna, in Emilia, before going to Monza later this year for the Italian Grand Prix. 10 minutes till race time. Well, 11 minutes till race time. Charles Leclerc starting third. We'll get to the starting grid in a couple of minutes' time. Before the race starts, we'll get to the starting grid. I like how Formula One, each race is set up to be their own full event. You know, I like that about Formula One. I like how it's not just they go racing, they call it a day. I like how it's a big event. So Oscar Piastri getting a 3-place grid penalty to start the race. Not something good for him. That's not good. Not good. Carlos Sainz starting fourth on the grid. Leclerc's teammate. So, still without a seat for next season. So, interesting. Interesting. 9 minutes away till the start of the race. And thank you everyone for watching. That has tuned into the stream. We're getting the race underway in a couple minutes. The Ferrari fans are out. They are in full force. The Ferozis or I forgot what they called it. The Ferrari fans. Yeah, the Ferrari fans. The Emilia Romagna Grand Prix in 8 minutes time. We'll go through the starting grid before the race. Our first double European header, a double header in Europe, before heading to North America again. We got this race, next race, before going to North America and then back to Europe. With Italy and Monaco next weekend. So Italy this weekend, Monaco next weekend. Before going to Canada. Six minutes till race time. 6 minutes away, guys. Six minutes, guys. Six minutes away. Now we are getting closer to race time. So we are 4 minutes away till race time. Yeah, everyone getting in there, getting ready, getting warmed up. Final minutes before the race. So we made it to a new continent, a new day, a new race. Round 7 of the FIA Formula 1 World Championship. We come from Miami to Italy for round 7 in Emilia. Here in the region of Italy we call Emilia, Romagna. 63 lap race, a lap record of 1 minute 15, 19 turns, top speed of 214 miles per hour in this 19 turn track. The tire compounds, the hards, the C3, the mediums, the C4, and the softest. C5 tires in the softs. The softest tire compounds we have seen all season long thus far. The starting grid for today's race, you've got Fernando Alonso starting in the pit lane, and you've got Logan Sargent in P19 in the Williams. In P18, the Haas of Kevin Magnussen with Zhou Guanyu starting 17th. You move up the grid, Valtteri Bottas in 16, Pierre Gasly starts in P15. Alexander Albon in 14th, with Lance Stroll, the Aston Martin, in 13th. You've got Esteban Ocon in 12th in the Alpine, with Sergio Perez in the Red Bull getting knocked out in Q2. In the top 10, you've got Nico Hülkenberg in 10th, with Daniel Ricciardo in the Racing Bull in 9th. In 8th is Lewis Hamilton, followed by Yuki Tsunoda, out-qualifying his teammate Daniel Ricciardo in 7th. George Russell in 6th as Oscar Piastri beside him in 5th. We've got Carlos Sainz in 4th, Charles Leclerc in 3rd, and old Ferrari, 2nd row of the grid. Then Lando Norris in 2nd, Max Verstappen starting the race P1 for Verstappen. as we are just a minute away from the formation lap here in Emilia, Italy, in the region of Emilia, Romagna in Italy. And it should be, we're here for an action, we are going to see an action-packed race. An action-packed race. A 3-place grid penalty for Oscar Piastri this weekend. As the clock about to hit 2 p.m. in Italy, I think 3 p.m. in Italy. The clock about to hit 3 p.m. in Italy. As when the clock hits 3 p.m. in Italy, we will officially be going in the formation lap. As we will officially be going to the formation lap, guys. As we are underway for the formation lap. We are underway for the formation lap as the drivers taking their final moments around the track. Taking their final moments around the track for the formation lap. As Verstappen starts first. The tire strategies, there's 2 strategies. The mediums to the hards or the hards to the mediums. Seems like the same strategy every single weekend. Or you could go from the hards to the softs. I saw that as an option earlier. I would have definitely jumped at the idea for that option. Going down the back straight. Verstappen going into the back straight to turn 16. Wearing the all white helmet. Not all white, but the white helmet. Charles Leclerc's girlfriend watching him in the pits today. As they're about to make the final turn. Verstappen making the final turn in the formation lap, getting into his grid spot. Setting up in the grid spot is Max Verstappen. Fastest pit stop of the season was 1.9 seconds, which was in round 5 back in China, round 5 of the FIA Formula 1 World Championship. Fernando Alonso sitting in the pits, waiting for everyone else. Verstappen has won it the last 2 times. We've been here, he's won it. Verstappen won in 2022 and 2021, but back in 2020, we had Lewis Hamilton win it. Verstappen slotting into his grid spot as the rest of the grid following through, getting set on the grid spot. As the final cars getting ready to make their way on the grid. Logan Sargent slotting on his spot on the grid. As we are about to get this one underway. Logan Sargent put a spot in there, and we are getting ready for the race. Underway. We're getting this race underway. It's lights out, away we go. Max Verstappen gets a good jump. Lando Norris also gets a good jump. Lando Norris taking it into turn 1, taking the battle for Verstappen into turn 1. We got a lot of action, an action-packed first corner. Max Verstappen leads with Lando Norris in second Ferrari. We had a battle with the Ferrari's Oscar Piastri getting into trying to overtake the Ferraris, as Yuki Tsunoda looks like under pressure from one of the racing bulls, under pressure from, oh, we had a little bit of smoke in the background. Pretty anticlimactic first. You know, it's not a good first lap of the race unless someone crashes. That's what I say. What? It's not, I'm not, no, it's not. I'm joking. Yuki Tsunoda having a great start to the race. Verstappen leads it as we go to lap 2 of 63. Wow, it's going to be a long race. Lap 2 of 63. Verstappen leads, followed by Norris in second. Leclerc in third, Sainz in fourth, Piastri fifth, Russell sixth, Hamilton in P7, Hulkenberg in eighth. Tsunoda lost 2 positions, he's in P9. And man, Sergio Perez in 10th, trying to overtake Tsunoda in 9th. DRS has been enabled a lap early. I think they made it a lap earlier, the DRS being enabled, a lap earlier than normal. But Verstappen leads, Lando Norris in second, and yeah, Verstappen's leading. There's not much else to say. Not much else to say for the rest of the race. Hamilton, who gained the position, overtaking Tsunoda. Tsunoda in P9 moved down 2 positions, Yuki. Tsunoda starting on the mediums. Perez, Joe Guanyu, and Logan Sargent, the only 3 drivers starting on the mediums. No, starting on the hards. Alonso and Gasly starting on the softs, as everyone else starts on the mediums for this race, which we are 3 laps into. Lando Norris gaining on Verstappen. If we can see a good battle between Norris and Verstappen, I think that Lando Norris got a chance. He's just got to do what he did in Miami. Miami is a tough overtaking track, though, compared to Emilia, compared to the Autodrome Enzo Ferrari being, you know, a way different track than that. Verstappen leads, followed by Norris in second. The battle for third between Sainz and Leclerc, third, fourth, and fifth is pretty tight at the moment. Piastri in fifth, Sainz in fourth, Leclerc in second. The battle is getting even tighter between these 2. Between these 3. So, Verstappen leads a big gap for Verstappen. He got himself a 1.172 gap between Norris and Verstappen. So, Verstappen's not really gonna see a lot from him. Oscar Piastri, the gap between Oscar Piastri and Carlos Sainz, as Oscar Piastri is gaining on Carlos Sainz, less than 1 second gap between these two. The gap gets smaller and smaller. The Ferrari people watching on in the garage. A race start that wasn't very surprising, to be honest. Not super surprising race start. Not surprised to see Verstappen in first. Lap 5. Alonso still trying to gain some time as he started in the pits. We've had 4 votes. 75% of people say Leclerc. 3 people say Leclerc. 1 person says Verstappen. Could be anyone. Could be anyone. What a race start for Verstappen. Lando had a great race start, but he couldn't really overtake Verstappen. He couldn't really get the job done on Verstappen, and he was kind of slipping away. Lando Norris was kind of slipping away. Almost got into P3 there at some point. Was almost in P3, so almost lost positions on Lando Norris. Almost losing positions there. But Verstappen's still in P1 at the moment. Still in P1. That was a tough battle between Lance Stroll and one of the others. I think that was between Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly. Pretty sure. Some contact there. Carlos Sainz had one of the best starts to the race. Better start reaction than Charles Leclerc, which is pretty good. Good for him. Good for him. As we are about to see an overtake, I think this is Nico Hulkenberg trying to gain on, I can't tell, it could be Magnussen gaining on Gasly. But, yeah, it's Magnussen gaining on Gasly. Kevin Magnussen continues to gain on Pierre Gasly, trying to get an overtake done, but can't. Sainz going on the radio saying the McLaren is fast. McLaren has been getting faster and faster as the days go on, it seems like. And that's what it looks like at the moment. The McLaren is getting faster and faster. People say Verstappen's going to win the race. People say Leclerc's going to win the race. Who knows? Who knows? Verstappen leads. Norris in second. Leclerc in third. Sainz in fourth. Yeah. Sainz, who almost got an overtake on Leclerc. Ferrari's had mixed race so far. It's also been tough for Fernando Alonso to gain with the rest of the pack, to get caught up with the rest of the pack. It's been tough for him to catch up with the rest of the pack. But with Verstappen leading, going into lap 9 of the race. As it looks like someone's pitting. Looks like Zhou Guanyu, Alex Albon, a couple drivers pitting. Albon, Gasly, and Bottas all pitting at the moment. A 2.5 second stop for Albon. So, Bottas, Gasly, and Albon all going on a fresh set of tires, as Oscar Piastri continues to gain on Oscar Piastri gaining on Carlos Sainz, as Verstappen gets the fastest lap of the race, again. Yet again. Alex Albon going on the radio at the moment. Couldn't tell what he said. So it looks like the battle for fourth is still well underway. Oscar Piastri chasing Carlos Sainz for P4 in this race. It's been a battle that's been happening for most of the race. And are we going to see Oscar Piastri to put himself in the P2? No, to put himself in the P4 at the moment. Sainz in fourth. Piastri in fifth. 11 laps done out of 63. Just gaining, couldn't do it. Into turn 4. Into turn 5 they go. The gap continues to get smaller and smaller. Into turn 7. 7 they go. This might be the turn where, no, as it looks like Albon in the pits. Something loose was there. Albon back in the pits. I don't know what's happening with Alex Albon. 2 pit stops already. 2 pit stops already for Albon. They might have felt something loose on the car and called him in for a pit, but that was the second pit of the race. And we are not even halfway through. We are just 12 laps in. And already, that pit stop doesn't seem good. Daniel Ricciardo making his way into the pits as well. A 2.7 stop for Daniel Ricciardo, which moves Ricciardo to P16 at the moment. Maybe 17th, possibly, depending on where he gets out on track. His teammate Yuki Tsunoda is still in ninth at the moment. And Alex Albon's already had 2 pit stops. I don't know what they're going to do with that car for the rest of the race. Going to be tough to come back from that Alex Albon. Currently in last at the moment. Alex Albon currently last at the moment. As it looks like one of the Red Bulls, I can't tell. No, that's not one of the Red Bulls, that's one of the Racing Bulls. Tsunoda's coming in the pit. Man, I do not understand why everyone's coming into pit. Listen, the 2.3 second stop isn't that bad. Why is everyone coming in the pit? Fernando Alonso coming in the pit as well. A rough weekend so far, rough pit stop from Alonso. A slow pit stop from Alonso. A tough race. A lot of pit stops so far. I don't understand why. Oh, Sergio Perez. No, Nico Hülkenberg's coming into the pits as well. Don't think the medium tires are working the way everyone's expecting. 2.5 second stop for Hülkenberg as he gets his way back out on track. Just 14 laps in. .49 laps to go, so, man, it's looking like a 2-stopper for most of these drivers. 48 laps to go, but it's still looking like a 2-stopper. Arina Sabalenka in the Haas, in case you do not know, for most of the people who are wondering who she is, who Arina Sabalenka is. She is number 2 in the world in tennis, the number 2 ranked tennis player. Going to be playing at the French Open this year. She's in the Haas pit garage. Oh, people are saying that Sergio Perez has a chance now. Now, Perez is currently P8 at the moment. He does have a chance. But I don't know what that chance is. So, 50% of people say 50% of people say Charles Leclerc. 17% of people say Sergio Perez. And 33% of people say Verstappen is going to win. Everyone's saying Charles Leclerc's going to win. Most of the people have voted on Charles Leclerc. But Leclerc's currently P3 at the moment. We'll see. Still a lot of the race to go. 6 seconds behind. Leclerc's currently 6 seconds behind Verstappen at the moment. He's currently 6 seconds behind with 47 laps to go. So we'll see. We'll see how this race goes. Could be Verstappen race win. Verstappen, who is 4 seconds ahead in front. Man. Yeah, it's interesting to see everyone, all the, not the big teams, the smaller teams, the midfield teams, the smaller teams, getting a pit stop early on. And I don't know why. I don't know if everyone just wants to jump on the hard tires early or what. But everyone, we had a rush of pit stops a couple laps back when I wasn't expecting there to be. Wasn't expecting there to be a big rush of pit stops. FIA steward saying the Alex Albon incident, unsafe conditions for Albon. Unsafe conditions for Albon. Leclerc's team says we are going for Plan B. He's like getting further away from Carlos Sainz. He's 30 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz. Leclerc is 3 seconds ahead of his teammate at this point in the race. Verstappen, you know, people are saying Leclerc's going to win. People are saying Perez is going to win. Perez is 24 seconds behind Verstappen. And Leclerc's 6 seconds behind Verstappen, the lead of the race. Things can change. Carlos Sainz trying to gain on Charles Leclerc. You could still vote down below. The voting ends on lap. The voting ends on lap 60 for who's going to win the race. Oh, someone voted Max Verstappen. Oh, we had someone voted for Max Verstappen's taking the lead in the voting. We have 8 votes. 50% of people are saying Verstappen. 38% of people are saying Charles Leclerc. 12% of people are saying Sergio Perez. I think everyone's just... We had... someone voted for Leclerc, then changed their vote to Verstappen. Immediately after. Oh, someone voted. It's tied. 44% of people have picked Verstappen. 44% of people have picked Leclerc. The voting's real balanced at this point now. Thank you everyone for voting. You could do so, voting for who you guys think is going to win the race. Oscar Piastri chasing Carlos Sainz for P4 in the race right now. Yeah, Carlos Sainz is also... Oscar Piastri's great defending from Carlos Sainz. Oscar Piastri has been catching Carlos Sainz for this entire race, but Sainz has not let Piastri through, has not, voted for first, whoever's in first place. That's a good reason to vote for them. That's a good reason to vote for them. Max Verstappen in P1. Hello, everyone watching. P1 for Verstappen at the moment. Max Verstappen, man, going from a 24-hour endurance race last night, a 24-hour virtual endurance race last night, to racing in a professional Formula 1 race. To racing this weekend. A busy weekend for Verstappen. He raced in an endurance race online. An online endurance race. And now he's racing in a racing in the car. A crazy week. Verstappen trying to win this race for the third straight time coming to this track in Italy. But yeah, I was really not expecting Verstappen to do as well as he's doing right now, because he wasn't really he was racing in an endurance race last night in Italy, going to race in a Formula One race, and that knowing he was going to race in a Formula One race the next day. So who's going to be pitting next? Who's the next person to pit in this stint? It's not been a good race for Alex Albon, from Thailand. It's not been a good race for Alex Albon. 2 pits in 20 laps. He had to pit twice in 20 laps. Not good. I think he pit once, and then he pit again, because I think that he had something loose on the car, and the FIA said that was the Federal International Automobile, I think that's what it's called, decided that it was unsafe after that second pit stop. What a race from Max Verstappen so far. 6 seconds ahead in first. The gap between Tsunoda from Japan and Yuki Tsunoda gaining on Logan Sargent. Logan Sargent, his seat in Formula One under threat from the only American F1 driver on the grid. It's been rather a tough race, a tough season for Logan Sargent. His second season of Formula One, and people are saying it might be his last. The teams are saying that they are looking at Kimi Antonelli, as Verstappen says, my front left tire is not good, so he might have to make a pit stop some point in the next couple of laps or so. He might need to do a pit stop, Verstappen. But Yuki Tsunoda is gaining on Logan Sargent for P13 in the race. George Russell has been told to pit. So George Russell, who's currently running in P6 at the moment, 6th place at the moment, is going to pit. He is going to pit at the moment. George Russell coming into pit, a quick stop. A 2.4 second stop for George Russell, and he is in 7th at the moment. What position will he come out in? He's lost 2 positions on the pit stop, lost 3 positions on the pit stop. He's coming out in P9 at the moment, George Russell. He will be in 9th at the moment. George Russell will be in 9th. A new set of tires for George Russell, who's chasing Esteban Ocon for 9th at the moment, George Russell. As Yuki Tsunoda still gaining on Logan Sargent, if you're on the medium tires, the pit window from laps 21 to 27, we are in the pit window. We're in the pit window. We're in the pit window. In the pit window, so with 40 laps to go, Lando Norris is pitting at the moment. He's lost positions on the pit. Obviously he lost, but he's currently in 5th. He was 2nd, a 2.4 second stop. And Alex Albon's got a time penalty, a 10-second time penalty. A 10-second time penalty for Alex Albon, who's currently a minute 20 behind everyone else. A minute 20. So Albon's in 20th. Alonso's 19th at the moment. He is a minute 20 behind Alonso. Tsunoda is still gaining on Logan Sargent at the moment. So 40 laps to go, a lot of laps to go. Verstappen yet to pit. So it looks like Logan Sargent, Joe Guanyu, Kevin Magnussen, Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, and Verstappen have all yet to pit. They have all yet to pit, so who knows? They have to pit at some point. Because Oscar Piastri is coming in the pits at the moment. In the McLaren. The Australian comes in the pit for the first time this race. A black and white flag for Max Verstappen for exceeding track limits. He might get a penalty if he does that again. And there goes Oscar Piastri, gaining on Sergio Perez. And he does. I think that was Piastri gaining on. No, that was Lando Norris, who was gaining on Piastri. No, Lando Norris was gaining on Perez. Oscar Piastri, who's 8th at the moment, who just made a pit stop. Just pitted. Oscar Piastri. So Oscar Piastri just hit P8 for Piastri at the moment. I know it says 4th, but he's in 8th. It will change at some point. Oh, it looks like Max Verstappen's coming into pit. Max Verstappen is coming into pit. And what is the time? 2.6 seconds. Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. A home race for Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc takes the lead of the Emilia Grand Prix, the Romagna Grand Prix. Romagna Grand Prix. Lando Norris just set the fastest lap of the race as Lando Norris. No, that's Oscar Piastri just got the overtake done on the Canadian Lance Stroll. Lando Norris, a 120.468 was his fastest lap of the race. Did not beat the record. Oscar Piastri gaining on Sergio Perez, the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. And it looks like Leclerc's coming in the pit. Which puts Carlos Sainz into first. Ferrari's still in first at the moment. Ferrari's still in first. A stop of 2.8 seconds. A 2.8 second pit stop. Changing the tires in 2.8 seconds. Wow. I cannot do that. Lando Norris moving up into P4 at the moment. Oscar Piastri, the Australian of Oscar Piastri, who's currently P7 at the moment, set the fastest lap of the race, a 119.907, the fastest lap yet. And it looks like Esteban Ocon's pitting. So we've had 3 drivers not pit, 4 drivers. Sainz, Hamilton, Magnussen, and Logan Sargent have yet to pit. As Esteban Ocon looks to pit. Not a good race for Alex Albon. Max is currently in 4th. He pit. And the drivers in front of him, Max Verstappen's currently P3 at the moment. And what basically happened with Max Verstappen was he had to pit, and the drivers in front of him did not pit yet. So once the drivers in front of him pit, I think he'll probably be P1. Because Sainz and Hamilton, P2 and P3, have yet to pit. So they're going to have to pit at some point. Leclerc's just pit, so Leclerc just pit, so looks like Oscar Piastri, Alex Albon, not a good race. 3 pit stops in the first 27 laps for Alex Albon. Not good. Carlos Sainz is going to pit at the moment. Carlos Sainz gonna pit. So yeah, that's what's been happening. Oh, 10 votes. 50% of people say Verstappen. Even though I hope Ferrari gets the win. Lewis Hamilton also pitting at the moment. So Sainz is pitting. Carlos Sainz did have a big lead on Hamilton as Verstappen moves up into P2. Yeah, Sainz a 2.7 second stop. Hamilton, I don't know how long his stop was. 2.6 from Lewis Hamilton. Something for Hamilton. But Max Verstappen regains the lead of the race in lap 28 of 63. Thanks for subscribing, guys. Lap 28 of 63, Max Verstappen regains the lead of the race, followed by Lando Norris in second, Charles Leclerc in third, Oscar Piastri in fourth, Sergio Perez in fifth, Carlos Sainz sixth, George Russell seventh, Lance Stroll eighth, Lewis Hamilton in ninth, and Kevin Magnussen in 10th. Yeah, it's going to be looking like another Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari podium again. We haven't had another team step on the podium that's not Ferrari, McLaren, or Red Bull. As Daniel Ricciardo gaining on the American, gaining on Logan Sargent. Gaining on Logan Sargent. Whoa. Ricciardo gaining on Logan Sargent. And can't get about to get the overtake done, but couldn't. As they go down the straight for lap 29, Oscar Piastri still holds the fastest lap of the race. So you still have 31 more laps to vote, guys, in case you haven't. So Carlos Sainz gaining on Sergio Perez, not Oscar Perez, Sergio Perez. And we are almost halfway through the race. Carlos Sainz gaining on Sergio Perez into turn 1. He can't get the overtake on the outside. He does. He gets the overtake done. Carlos Sainz in the P5 for Carlos Sainz, and the Ferrari fans are going wild because Carlos Sainz overtakes Sergio Perez for P5 in the race. For P5 in the race. Next on Carlos Sainz's list, run to the top is Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri is next for Carlos Sainz, and that's been a big challenge for Oscar Piastri to overtake Carlos Sainz. But when everyone got their pit stops done, Sergio Perez, the only driver, along with Zhou Guanyu and Logan Sargent, who have yet to pit. So Sergio Perez will have to pit at some point. The tire degradation is higher than expected, but we think it's Plan B, not Plan C. That's what the engineer is saying to Oscar Piastri at the moment. Verstappen still in the lead, followed by Lando Norris in second. Leclerc in third, Piastri fourth, Sainz fifth. But then again, Perez is going to have to pit at some point. As Pierre Gasly going into the pits for the second time, a second pit stop for Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly, Sergio Perez, P7 at the moment. So the overtake, George Russell overtook Sergio Perez. Overtake on Sergio Perez. Verstappen still in the lead of this one. Norris close, starting the gain on Verstappen, six seconds behind. Trying to gain. Trying to get a move on him. Oscar Piastri trying to get a move on Leclerc for P3. As we are halfway through the race. We are halfway through the race. So Logan Sargent is making his first pit stop of the race. You are required by the FIA to make at least one pit stop. You have to make at least one pit stop, which can ruin people's races, like what happened a couple years ago in Azerbaijan, where Alex Albon did not pit for the entire race, and on the final lap, he decided he had to pit, a 3.5 second stop for Logan Sargent. You have to pit at least once. So on the final lap, he decided to pit, which was a disaster because there was people standing in the pit lane waiting for the podium ceremony after the race. Just look at the pit stops, the amount of pit stops. The amount of pit stops. Alex Albon has had 4 pit stops this race. A ridiculous amount of pit stops in 33 laps. It looks like Sonoda, no, that is Sonoda, gaining on Zhou Guanyu, even if he doesn't get the overtake on Zhou Guanyu. And he does get the overtake on Zhou Guanyu, which is even better. Even if he didn't get the overtake on Zhou Guanyu would still have to pit some point in the race. Zhou Guanyu yet to pit. Yet to pit for Zhou Guanyu. Yet to pit. We have 30 more laps to go halfway through this race. 30 laps to go out of the 63. Lap 34, 63. 30 more laps to go. Nico Hülkenberg chasing Zhou Guanyu for 12th at the moment. Nico Hülkenberg, you can see him go down the straight. Zhou Guanyu, the first and only Chinese F1 driver, the first F1 driver from China, the first ever F1 driver from China. If you are on the hard tires, you might want to pit because the pit window for the hard tires is from lap 34 to lap 40. So we might see some pits at the moment. Zhou Guanyu making his first pit stop of the race. Zhou Guanyu making his way into the pits for the first time this race. This may be the window where Sergio Perez is going to want to pit because Sergio Perez is on the hard tires as well. Lando Norris says saying that he has no pace. Lando Norris, he is saying that he has no pace. Not good for Lando Norris. Lap 35 of 63. Yeah, it's really looking like an amazing race for Sergio Perez has yet to pit. Amazing race for Verstappen, which 50% of people say he's going to win. As Lewis Hamilton gaining on Sergio Perez. Remember, Sergio Perez's tires are getting old. He's really getting old on the his tires are getting old. He might want. I think he should pit. But Lewis Hamilton gaining on Sergio Perez. The overtake's not going to be hard, but once he does, going to be a big overtake for Lewis Hamilton. Currently sitting in 8th at the moment. The battle for 7th. You can see it on right here. Lewis Hamilton in 8th. Perez in 2nd. And Lewis Hamilton trying to go on the outside but couldn't. Did not get the overtake done. No worries. Maybe he'll do it on the next corner. Still yet to get that overtake done. I'm still trying to get the overtake done. Three drivers yet to pit, and the three drivers that we're going to be looking at, focusing on, are Kevin Magnussen, Lance Stroll, and Sergio Perez. Kevin Magnussen of Haas, Lance Stroll of Aston Martin, and Sergio Perez of Red Bull, because they're going to have to pit at some point. Whether they like it or not, they're going to have to pit at some point. With the way things are going, Lewis Hamilton trying to get the overtake, still trying to get the overtake on Sergio Perez and can't. Sergio Perez is not letting him get along that easy. Lewis Hamilton, he does. He gets the overtake done. Lewis Hamilton up into 7th place. Up in the 7th place for Lewis Hamilton. What an overtake. Goes on the outside of Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez on the older tires makes him kind of slower, and Lewis Hamilton looks like he just breezes by. That was a tough overtake for Hamilton to make, but we all knew it was coming eventually. Sergio Perez, box, says his team. He's coming into the pits. He's going to make a pit stop at this point. Because he's pitting strategically. He's pitting after everyone else, so he gets fresher tires. Kevin Magnussen also pitting as Yuki Tsunoda moves up in the 10. Perez also pitting. Lance Stroll also pitting. Tsunoda moves up in the 8th. .4 second stop for Kevin Magnussen. .24 laps to go, guys. 24 laps to go. We are Kevin Magnussen chasing Zhou Guanyu for P16 in this race. As Zhou Guanyu still not letting Kevin Magnussen overtake him. Yeah, Kevin Magnussen really pushing for the overtake on Zhou Guanyu in the Kick Sauber, in the stake car, the green car. Sergio Perez gets the overtake done on Daniel Ricciardo, and he moves up to P10. Esteban Ocon getting the overtake done on Fernando Alonso. So it's looking tough for anyone to overtake the Red Bulls now. Max Verstappen, it's looking tough for Lando Norris to get the overtake done on Verstappen. As Max Verstappen continues to gain, Sergio Perez overtaking Nico Hülkenberg for P9 in the race. Sergio Perez getting that overtake done on him. So Lando Norris getting talked to on the radio. Lewis Hamilton gaining on George Russell, his teammate. Lewis Hamilton gaining on George Russell as another pit stop happening. Looks like Alonso's back in the pits. Everyone's at least pitted once. Which is what I'm seeing. Everyone's pitting at least once. Everyone's pit once. So the battle for second is still on as Sergio Perez overtakes Yuki Tsunoda for P8 in the race, putting Yuki Tsunoda down to P9 in the race. $20 more laps to go, guys. 20 more laps to go. 20 to go till we decide the winner here. $20 laps to go. The gap between Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari and Lando Norris in the McLaren. The gap's getting smaller. A smaller gap at this point. This has been a really fast race. I don't know if this is just me. It's been abnormally fast. Into the village section, as they call it. That is. That's how Fernando Alonso sets the fastest lap in a race. Fernando Alonso has the fastest lap in a race. Fastest lap in the race for Fernando Alonso, a 1:19.851. A 1:19 is the fastest lap we have seen thus far. The fight for second. Will it be Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari or Lando Norris in the McLaren? Who knows? Time will tell throughout this 18-lap race. Throughout the last 18 laps of this race. Charles Leclerc gaining on Lando Norris. Just continuing to gain position on Lando Norris. We have the post-race ceremony. We're gonna have the podium celebration after this race, so stay tuned for that happening after the race. So it's looking like Leclerc's continuing to gain on Norris. It's continuing to gain on Lando Norris. So Leclerc versus Norris is going to be a battle that we're going to see throughout the rest of the race. As they continue to gain on each other, we see Alonso trying to gain on Stroll, trying to gain on Hulkenberg as Stroll gets the overtake on Hulkenberg. Here on lap 47 out of 63. The Ferrari fans waving their flags in the stands. 0.907. That's the gap between Leclerc and Norris at the moment. As you can see it on the top. The battle for second. The battle for second between Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc is getting even bigger. An even bigger gap. That Norris is trying to create a bigger gap at this point. Just trying to get the gap, bigger gap. Lap 47 of 63 in this one. Charles Leclerc, the replay showing Leclerc just gaining, but going off track for a bit. Don't know if he's going to get off cut the chicane, cut right across the chicane. So I don't know if he's going to get a time penalty for that. That is not good for him. There's John Elkann, the chairman of Ferrari. I definitely did not say his name right. That's definitely not how you say his name. 15 laps to go. And Kevin Magnussen gaining on Zhou Guanyu. Just gaining on Zhou Guanyu. Just gaining. The Danish driver just gaining on Zhou Guanyu. $14 more laps to go. 14 to go in this one. We're getting to the end of this one. We're getting to the end of the race. As Kevin Magnussen gets the overtake on the Chinese driver, Zhou Guanyu. Kevin Magnussen, what do they call people from Denmark? The driver from Denmark making his way up in the order. Into P16, 15 goes Magnussen, the Danish driver. So Ocon gaining on, so Esteban Ocon, the French driver, Esteban Ocon, gaining on the Finnish driver from Finland, Valtteri Bottas, the Scandinavian driver, because they're in the Scandinavian region, Finland. They are in Scandinavia. Lap 50 of 63 in this one. Looks like still Verstappen leads. Lando Norris, who's 5 seconds behind Verstappen. Lance Stroll gaining on Tsunoda. Starting to gain on Tsunoda. Lance Stroll chasing Yuki Tsunoda for ninth in the for ninth. For ninth in the race at the moment. For ninth place. Lance Stroll, he does not get the, yes he does, he gets the job done. Lance Stroll in the P9, Tsunoda down to P10. We haven't raced here in 2 years, so it's been a tough one. We didn't race last year because there was a massive flood in Emilia, Romagna. So there was a massive flood, so we couldn't race there last year. Max Verstappen has won the race the past 2 times. And it's looking like Verstappen's going to win. So we'll focus on the battle for P2 while Verstappen does his job. His hands must be very tired. Norris is starting to gain on Verstappen, as I've been really looking at Lando Norris gaining on Verstappen at the moment. He's really been starting to gain on Verstappen. And he's been going faster than Verstappen. I think Verstappen's tires aren't the best. He did come on the radio to complain about his tires. So this is Lando Norris' opportunity. With 11 laps to go, this is his opportunity. This is Norris' opportunity to take the lead in the race. Lando Norris has been, I don't know what he's saying at the moment. Lando Norris legitimately has a chance to win the race. Lando Norris is faster than Max Verstappen, a faster lap than Max Verstappen. Lando Norris legitimately behind him. He's still 4 seconds behind him, so he's got to catch up to Verstappen. Ten more laps to go. 10 more laps to go. George Russell had been told to pit. I don't know why, but George Russell had a 2.2 second pit stop. Good for him. Good for him. 2.2 second stop. The Mercedes car, it's either all black or all gray. I don't understand the mix. As Sergio Perez gets the fastest lap of the race. Sergio Perez takes the fastest lap from Fernando Alonso, who had it for most of the race. Yeah, Lando Norris is actually starting to gain on Verstappen. We are going to watch that battle for the next couple laps unfold. The battle between Lando Norris and Verstappen unfold. We are going to see the battle unfold in the next couple laps. As I've currently got the Lando Norris onboard cam on, watching that while watching this. Lando Norris is extremely fast. He's getting faster throughout the corners as we are on lap 54 of 63. So that means we have 9 laps to go. 9 to go. 9 laps to go. Lando Norris is 3.1 seconds behind Verstappen. You can see him gaining. With 8 laps to go. The battle for first is on. We have a battle that may just well go in the hands of Lando Norris. I can see Verstappen in the distance. Watching Lando Norris' onboard camera, you could see Verstappen in the distance, as he is currently 2.6 seconds behind Verstappen. Verstappen, who's been complaining about his tires the past couple laps, this is Lando Norris' race to win. As it looks like Alex Albon's retired from the race. Been expecting that since lap 5. You know, I knew it. I knew he was gonna. I knew it. George Russell took the fastest lap of the race. But yeah, Lando Norris legitimately has a chance. As you can see, him lapping some of the cars. Lando Norris has to go past some of the traffic, some of the to lap cars. He did have to go through Daniel Ricciardo, I think that was. I don't know, I think it was Ricciardo. Gaining on, no, that was Tsunoda. He lapped Tsunoda. Verstappen, 2 seconds in front of him is Verstappen. This has been a battle we are waiting to watch. Lando Norris trying to gain on Verstappen. He's continuing to gain. You could see Verstappen in the distance. If you are watching Lando Norris' onboard camera, Verstappen's in the distance. I'm describing it to you guys. Verstappen in the distance here. Lando Norris continues to gain on Verstappen. And I continue to get nervous about this overtake that's about to happen in front of me. 63 laps. No, 7 laps to go, guys. 7 to go. 7 to go. Come on, Lando. Come on. 1.9 seconds is the gap. 2 seconds is the gap. Oh, the gap gets slower. Verstappen, realistically, I don't think he can get the overtake on Verstappen done. 2 seconds. He's got a chance. Lando Norris has got a chance. He's got a huge chance, Lando Norris. As this battle is just getting more intense. 6 laps to go. 6 to go on this overtake. The Zhou Guanyu Esteban Ocon incident has for pushing someone off the track. And all the McLaren fans are jumping around because Lando Norris is starting to take the lead of the race. He's trying to get the lead of the race. 1.7 seconds, as you can see on the side. 1.9 seconds between Lando Norris and Verstappen. That's the gap. That's a small gap between these two drivers. 1.7 is the gap currently. It hasn't updated yet, but 1.6 is the gap now. 1.6 seconds is the gap. Max Verstappen, happy, and Lando, happy to, I'm pushing as much as I can, mate. I think I can do this. So it's 1.6, lap 58 of 63. Five laps to go, guys. 5 to go. This is a 5-lap battle. 1.5 seconds. Oh, kind of swerving there from Lando Norris. Going out of the corner there. just watching the onboard of Lando Norris as at the moment. Going down the back straight is Lando Norris. This is, wow. This is a battle we've all been waiting for. 1.6 is the gap. 1.6. 1.6 seconds is the gap, by the way. 1.6 seconds. 1.7 seconds. It's getting slower. As Lando Norris, I see Verstappen in the distance. As you look at the back of Verstappen's car, and you see Lando Norris in the distance there, into the house, into the village part of the track, the village track, as I like to call it. As we enter lap 59 of 63. 4 more laps to go. 4 more laps to go, guys. This is it, guys. This is the battle. 1.5 seconds is the gap between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. And the gap just keeps on getting wider and wider. But like Ayrton Senna said, don't go for the gap. I forgot what he said. I forgot what his famous quote is. Don't go for... If you go for a gap that never exists, you are not... Wait. I don't even remember. So, as Ayrton Senna once said, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. And Lando Norris is going for the gap that exists. And Lando Norris is still chasing the gap. So, Ayrton Senna did say that you're not a racing driver if you don't go for that gap. And Lando Norris is really gaining on Max Verstappen, and it's really becoming 3 laps to go, guys. 3 more laps to go. 3 laps to go till the end of this one. Lando Norris, who's gaining on Max Verstappen, into the uphill part of the track. What's going to happen here, guys? Verstappen and Lando Norris. Lando Norris, 1.6 seconds behind Verstappen. And the gap, 1.5 at the moment. 1.5. It hasn't gotten lower than 1.5 at this point in the race. Alex Albon's out of the race. This is one of the first races of the year where we did not have a safety car. No safety car in this race. As we're about to cross the start and finish line, we are starting lap 61 of 63. 3 more laps to go in this one. Man, what a race. 1.3 seconds is the gap between Verstappen and Norris. 1.3 seconds. This is going crazy. 1.3 is the gap between Norris and Verstappen. And the overtake on Valtteri Bottas, Ocon overtaking Bottas for P14 in the race. Yeah, as that battle's happening, we focus on the Lando Norris battle. 1.2 seconds is the gap. 1.2. Lap 61 of 63. We'll update you every time we start a new lap. As what a race. 3 more laps to go. Verstappen on the radio. Verstappen said, I don't remember what he said. I didn't see what he said. Lando Norris Gaining on Verstappen, we are on lap 63, 62 of 63. Lando Norris gaining on Verstappen, and you can see the gap is less than a second at this point. Less than a second in the gap. The gap between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen is getting closer and closer. Lando Norris gaining on Verstappen at the moment. This is crazy. This is the racing we want to watch. This is the type of racing we've been trying to watch this entire race. And this is what we're getting. 1.2 seconds is the gap between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen gaining on Verstappen, going into turn 15. We are about to reach the final lap of the race. Final lap. One lap to go. Turn 18 as we go past the village section. The final lap of the race. The final moment for Lando Norris to try and go for Max Verstappen on the final lap of the race. 1 second. Remember, you have to be within 1 second to use your DRS. He could use his DRS when he gets to the DRS zone. He is within a second of Max Verstappen. He could use this DRS when he gets in the DRS zone. So that's his only chance, realistically, of winning the race. When you get to the DRS zone. Going into the DRS zone, when in DRS, this has been a very stressful last couple laps to watch. I can't watch. I can't watch this. I can't watch this anymore. I can't see Max Verstappen. Grand Prix. The Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. The Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Max Verstappen wins the Italian Grand Prix. As Lando Norris comes in to take P2, Charles Leclerc in P3. What a race that has been. What a race to the finish line. But of course Max Verstappen has to come out on top at some point. Lando did have a great time battling with huge battle with Norris and Verstappen, but Max Verstappen wins the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Romagna. And 50% of people said Max Verstappen was going to win. Out of 10 votes, 50% of people said Verstappen was going to win. 40% of people said Leclerc's going to win. 10% said Sergio Perez was going to win. But no one said that Lando Norris was going to win. Absolutely no one said that Lando Norris was going to win the race. And Max Verstappen is your winner of the 2024 Italian Grand Prix. No, Emilia Grand Prix. We're just going to call it that from now on. Lando Norris wins Driver of the Day. At least he wins Driver of the Day. If only there was 3 more laps left in this race. If only there was 3 more laps to go. If only there was 3 more laps to go in this race, he would have a legitimate chance of winning. Do 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 do. Do 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 Max Verstappen wins the race, celebrates in the crowd. What a race win for Max Verstappen. He takes it all in, taking in that amazing race win for Verstappen. Lando Norris gets second in this race. So Max Verstappen first, Norris second, Leclerc third, Piastri fourth, Sainz fifth, Hamilton sixth, Russell seventh, and Perez eighth. What a race that was. We are going to have the podium celebration in a bit, along with the we are not going to have the what is it called? The first Ferrari driver to get on the podium since Michael Schumacher in 2006. The Ferrari fans are excited to see Charles Leclerc on the podium for the first time since 2006. A Ferrari driver on the podium in Imola for the first time since 2006. So everyone's excited about that. As all the fans, you can see all the Ferrari fans running on the track. We'll have the post-race interviews, then the podium celebration. So Max Verstappen gets first place, Leclerc in second and third, as Norris gets P2 on this amazing day in Imola. So guys, stick around for the podium celebration in a bit. the podium celebration we've got in a bit. So Lando Norris getting interviewed at the moment, then the podium celebration. And then yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. If you guys are hanging out at this point, we are gonna do the podium. Well, I'm not gonna show it though. Charles Leclerc, everyone's excited to see the Ferrari fans in attendance at this race. Thanks for subscribing, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for subscribing. A new subscriber, 15 subscribers, a new milestone. We're trying to get 20 and then go from there. And we're trying to go little by little, gaining subscribers. Little by little. Next race will be a home race for Charles Leclerc in Monaco. Which is huge for Leclerc. So they're going to be heading up to the podium for the podium celebration. But let's talk about the race. Verstappen in first with Lando Norris in second. Charles Leclerc finished P3. Then you've got Oscar Piastri in fourth, followed by Sainz, Hamilton, Russell. Nice. Perez, Stroll, Sonoda, and P10. Hulkenberg, then Magnussen, Ricciardo, Ocon, Joe Guanu, Gasly, Sargent, might be glitchy. Oh, not anymore. It's not anymore. we're going to the podium. What a race it was for Lando Norris, right down to the finish line. It was entertaining. To the finish line, right down to the finish line, and everything just, all the pieces started putting together for Lando Norris, who almost overtook Verstappen, but if only there was a couple more laps. And all the fans, all the Ferrari fans, running on the track, after the race, because it's the first time Ferrari has gotten a podium, not the first time, but Ferrari, the last time they got a podium in Emilia was back in 2006. They are back on the podium. They're back on the podium. Guys, they're back on the podium. Back on the podium. As the drivers are about to come out for the podium celebration. Charles Leclerc takes third step on the podium, putting his third place hat on. In second, Lando Norris. Wow, man, it should have been, you should have voted for Verstappen, because Verstappen finished first. The race is over. Verstappen finished first. You should have voted for Verstappen. That's what I'm saying. Max Verstappen gets first on the podium. He gets his national anthem played for him. And what a race it's been. What an entertaining race for him. The Dutch national anthem being played for Max Verstappen. And then now the winning constructor gets the Austrian national anthem played, because Red Bull is an Austrian company. And that was the Dutch national anthem for Max Verstappen, winning the race, and the Austrian national anthem for the winning constructor, Red Bull, finishing P1, with Leclerc in the Ferrari finishing P3, and P2, the McLaren, from the McLaren finishing P2, and Lando Norris finishing P2 in this race. And now they get to celebrate. And now the driver's trophy, second place trophy, the president of the Emilia Romagna Romagna, the Emilia Romagna part. And the third place trophy gets handed to Leclerc. The crowd excited to see Leclerc on the podium, and let the celebrations begin. Lando Norris finishes second. Max Verstappen, what a weekend for him! What a race for Verstappen! Another amazing, spectacular win for another win in the books for Max Verstappen. That is his fifth win of the season. Lando Norris is second. He finishes second for the second time this year. Charles Leclerc finishes third for the fourth time this year. And what a moment it's been. Thank you guys for joining the stream. Don't make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. What a stream it's been. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.